Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to today's sneak peek webinar, Fast Fixes for a Slow Market, which will be presented in its entirety later this year at the 2017 NAA Education Conference Exposition. For the first time, the 2017 NAA Education Conference and Exposition will be held in Atlanta, June 21st through the 24th. We're certain that Atlanta's unique energy and Southern charm will infuse every aspect of the event, spurring networking and learning opportunities and making our gathering more worthwhile than ever before. We expect about 10,000 apartment industry professionals in a very exciting and collaborative environment. We have made plans to be sure that you have an inspiring and motivating experience. We've got some really cool general sessions lined up for you. Robin Roberts is our opening general session, followed by Alec Baldwin on the second day. And on Saturday is Adele Aziz. Along with those general sessions, we have a total of 60 breakout education sessions this year. It's the most we've ever had. We're also expecting a big bang of an exposition with more than 450 suppliers this year. My colleague, Frank Mock, has just stepped into my office. Hey, Frank.
Hey, Clark.
This is Frank Mock, everybody. He's on our communications team, and he's freaking awesome to work with.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Frank. Can you maybe tell us about a couple of things that might be happening at the conference that you think are worth highlighting?
Yeah, sure. I'd love to. I have just two sort of special announcements for you, kind of asked from us. We all know how giving the industry is, and NAA this year is really laser focused on promoting all the good work that you guys out there do. So in that vein, we're asking you to support the Atlanta Community Food Bank and help end hunger in the city during the education conference by volunteering with your fellow attendees on Saturday, June 24th at 11:30 in the morning. The food bank distributes more than 58 million meals each year to 755,000 people across Greater Atlanta and North Georgia. If you're unable to stay through the afternoon, that's not a problem. You can still donate. Every dollar provides food for 4 meals. So we're asking you to visit www.naahq.org/ACFB for more details and a link to donate.
So Frank, if folks were sort of struggling to catch that long string, don't worry about it. We're recording all this. It's totally retrievable after the fact. Just sit back and relax and keep listening.
Sure, and you can see it right on the screen too, I think, the link at the bottom. The second announcement I have for you guys, we all know that successful leaders are willing to adapt and improve team performance by sharpening their own leadership skills, which is why the NAA Education Institute is offering a special leadership training program in conjunction with the Education Conference. We're asking you to enroll today in the full-day seminar called Leading Your Organization Through Urgency and Change, based on Dale Carnegie's world-class curricula and developed by apartment industry executives. Seminars on Wednesday, June 21st from 10 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. and it is a separate registration fee. We're asking you to visit www.naahq.org/leadership for more details and registration. And I want to remind you that space is limited for this, so don't make any delays. Don't delay in registering. And with that, I'll return you to Clark, Kate, and your regularly scheduled program.
Thanks so much, Frank.
Thank you, Clark. All right, high five. See you guys.
And now it's my pleasure to introduce to you all our esteemed panel, our esteemed industry expert. Kate Good is one of the most in-demand speakers in the business because of her constant search for the most up-to-the-moment skills and techniques to share with her audience. Her proven record for success as a marketing and leasing strategist for many marketing conditions has opened up a number of opportunities, including developing, building, and managing her own portfolio of apartment communities. Audiences return to her programs for fresh ideas. Good afternoon, Kate. Thanks for making time for us.
Hello. Thanks, Clark. I love this, and I love the video element that you've added to the webinars. You guys are here in my office with me, and I'm kind of thinking how much fun it would be to have more people in my office every day. So I like this. Thank you so much. I'm really excited to do. Go ahead.
I'm just really glad that you made time to do this, and I think that coming to work every day in your office would be a really fun thing, Kate.
We do have fun here. We do. Not as much fun as we have at NAA in June of every year, but we have a pretty good office around here.
So I just wanted to bring that up. So you're sort of first on the roster this year at NAA. You want to tell us a little bit more about that?
Yes. So as you know, NAA has added Wednesday as a day for education. And this year, they've added an educational track before living room learning. So those of you that were there last year know that we kicked off with living room learning. And then this year, there's a whole educational track. Is it 5 or 6 sessions concurrently before living room learning?
There are 6 of them, Kate.
6. And I'm one of them. So I'm going to be kicking off NAA this year on Wednesday at 1:45. And then after you come to my program, we can all head over to Living Room Learning together, where Clark's got an amazing lineup of great speakers. And then following that, a keynote speaker. So make sure you make your travel plans to get in either Tuesday or Wednesday morning, because I think Wednesday afternoon is now packed with some great education, networking, and really special events.
Yeah, definitely. The message here is to hit the come early and be ready to go by 1:45 on Wednesday. We're going to hit the ground running. And with that, Kate, I'm going to pass the controls over to you, and you can start to share some of these fresh ideas that you're so famous for.
Thank you. Thank you. So the program that I'm presenting on Wednesday is Fast Fixes for a Slow Market. And I think this is a really exciting and very important topic right now, because we've enjoyed so much of the boom that we're starting to see a little bit of fall off, and some markets have slowed down quite a bit. I'm based in Houston, Texas. That's where my most recent lease up was. And in this market, we had 30,000 new apartments delivered in the span of about 20 months. So our slowdown was caused by a massive boom in construction, and that was following the recession. I was going to wear my T-shirt today that said I survived 2008, 2009, and 2010, because that's when it was definitely the slowest market I've ever worked in. And I'm happy to say it doesn't feel that slow now. It's definitely not what we were experiencing in 8, 9, and 10, but we are not having that same experience where if you build it, they will come, or just this unlimited traffic and raising prices. So we really get to look at what we can do. And to start that out, I want to be realistic about, what we expect from a fast fix. Do you have controls, Clark? I don't think I do.
All right,
trying to move over to my next slide. Yeah. All right. So one of the things that you want to think about with fast fixes is what is realistic, when do you need to do it, what do you need to do? And that's really what I want to highlight today. And I've got just a peek for you of what I'm going to be presenting at NAA. So the first thing I want you to think about is what is realistic. Here we have an ad, work from home, and you can make millions of dollars, $10,000. Wow, wouldn't that be great? I don't know of anybody that is able to get online and do something that quickly and make that much money at one time. Usually it takes a little bit of hard work, practice, research, crafting. So is that really realistic? I don't know. How about losing 20 pounds in 1 week with the boiled egg diet? That sounds really good. Well, that one's not for me, and you know what? I don't really think it's true either. So you got to be careful of that hype. How about this one? Marry Me Already. This website plans to introduce you to your forever found person right here by just jumping on their website, and that's where all of the people who are going to want to connect with you for life are going to be found. I don't believe it, and in this day and age, that's what we call false news or fake news. So in a fast fix market, you got to think about, well, what is realistic? What can we really do? And that's what I'm going to be doing in this program, is talking about some implementary ideas that we can do right now. And if you think about what you want to make happen this week, this month, to affect that Monday morning report that you are going to send off to your owners and senior managers, well, you need some ideas to really spark that up. And that's what I really want to think about. So the first question is, where is everybody? Always remember this. In any market condition, there are always people renting apartments. There are still people renting apartments. In 2009, we lived by that mantra. People are still leasing apartments. What we've got to do is get our unfair share of that traffic. So where is everybody? What are they looking for? One of the biggest challenges that I find is when the market starts to slow down and it becomes a little bit harder, our sales teams tend to shift their thinking also. So here we have a little chart, and the blue section shows when our sales team is on top of the world, feeling confident, friendly, energetic, successful. I can close everything. I love all this traffic. Everyone's qualified. Everyone's leasing. I get 4 leases a day. It's amazing. And then you've got the other side of the chart. Now, the other side of the chart is when we feel like we've hit rock bottom. We're pessimistic. We don't feel like we're ever going to close another deal again. And this is when I start hearing from my team, I think they were a shopper. I think they were a shopper. Well, listen, not every show's a shopper. But the mindset of that customer has changed a little bit in the slow market. And we've got to really figure out how to produce the type of production that is necessary in this market. And that might mean that we're going to make some adjustments in our marketing. We're going to make some adjustments in the way we sell. And overall, we're going to work a little bit harder to get what came easy for us just maybe a year ago. So the first things I want you to think about are, what are the important things that you can fix to look like a genius? Because that's what we all want to look like, right? I want to look smarter than I really am. So the first tip I want to give you is, if you want somebody to do something, tell them what to do. Tell them what to do. If you want someone to lease an apartment, tell them you want them to lease that apartment. Tell them why they should lease that apartment. Tell them what action to take. And so take a look at all of your marketing and really look and audit it and find out, are you telling your customer what to do in that marketing? Are you telling them to learn more? Are you telling them to investigate? Are you telling them to play a video? Are you telling them what you can do for them? These are 2 examples of websites that really put it out there, and they tell you exactly what they want you to do. Here, these are also what is known as call to action. And I think in a slower market, you want to have a very strong call to action. So audit all your marketing. First thing you want to do is audit all your marketing and make sure you have that strong call to action. And remember this, what might have worked a few months ago is not going to work today. So you can't expect the same action, the same activity to give you the same results when the market conditions change. We've got to change. We've got to change our marketing. We've got to change what we're doing. So put that invitation out there to tell your customer to do something. Here we've got a beautiful website. This is a website that was created by my friends over at Lease Labs. And one of the things I want to point out to you is all the call to actions on this page. This is right there on their homepage. There's number 1. Then we go to number 2, apply now. Then we go to number 3, get in touch. Then we go to number 4, learn about our scholarship program. And then we go to number 5, text us. And you've got all of these call to actions on one page. And so what is that telling your customer to do? Take action. If you want your customer to lease from you, you've got to ask them to do something. And I think that this homepage is a really great example of that. Here's another great example. This is a pop-up that, again, tells the customer what makes you unique, what makes you different, what you want them to pay attention to. So these are things that you want to have a driver where you can change this daily if you're spotlighting a certain apartment or a certain floor plan, or you've got a new phase opening, or maybe there's something new in the neighborhood that you want to brag about, because we know that people don't just rent apartments, they rent the neighborhood. They want to live in that neighborhood. So you want to have things that you can change very quickly without having to get in touch with a webmaster. So you want to have the controller to do that, so you can be very responsive in your market. Here's an example of here's a map. And what they ask you to do is to check out the neighborhood. Again, because we know that people rent entire neighborhoods. So here's your action item. Review all your marketing to ensure you're telling your customer what you want them to do and how to do it. Make it really simple, really straightforward, and ask for that action. The next tip is that lead generation is typically not the problem. In our industry, we've gotten pretty good and sharpened our skills and become very rich with knowledge as to who our customers are, where they come from, and how we reach them. Never before have we been able to hone into our customers' activity that much. And we really are living in remarkable times. The leads are out there. When I go to consult with communities that are underperforming, what I typically find is that there are a lot of leads that were never responded to. So I want you to, instead of first thinking about what's another marketing source that I can use to generate more leads, we need more leads, we need more leads. I want you to start with the leads that have been generated and make sure your team has completely maximized those leads. I'm going to tell you from my experience, they have it. They absolutely have it. So now that you've identified all these leads, and I want you to contact your internet listing services and get a printout of all the leads that they sent you in the last 60 days. And they'll do that. I ask Department Guide for this, and they send it to me. And then we go through and we audit it up against our guest cards in the computer. Now what I do is I go through and I look at them, and I say, okay, this one's a cold lead, meaning maybe their move-in date has passed, or they didn't respond the first time we contacted them, or oops, we didn't contact them back at all. Oh, I hate that. And then you start to move them to warm leads. These are people that maybe responded to our email or took our phone call, but they never came in the door. And there's maybe a reason for that. And then you have your hot leads. And your hot leads are the people that you felt like they were going to lease, or they certainly took all the steps to find all the information out, but they just didn't make a decision right away. So that's a really hot lead. Now, all of these have value, but what are you going to start with? Obviously, your hot leads. Get all over those hot leads. We've got a lot of systems that help remind us who those hot leads are, though. So if you find that your team is not responding to those hot leads or staying on top of those hot leads, then you probably have a training issue. You want to spend some time really showing the value of that traffic to your team. Now, the cold leads and the warm leads, a lot of times that takes effort on our part to go and find those, because even our lead management systems can sometimes lose track of those because we pay so much attention to those hot leads. So don't forget them. Search for all your leads. Pull them all. Compare them to your guest cards. I do an audit because I want to prove to the team that the leads were there and we missed some of them. Find those people who are not contacted and contact them again and again and again and again. And don't stop, because you know how it is, you guys. We're all busy. And somebody may email us and we mean to look at it, or we mean to read it, but we just don't get a chance to. And then we get that second shot. Oh, okay, we're going to look at that. In the business world, we tend to be a little more responsive, but in our personal life, we could be a little more lazy about that. So especially when you've got all these apartment communities trying to reach you. Here's my tip. Don't make the subject line always the same. Mix it up a little bit and mix up the way that you contact them. If they gave you their cell phone number and they're not responding to emails, shoot them a text. I prefer to get text messages today because it's just quick and easy to respond to. Many people want instant gratification. We may quickly abandon an idea or a path to buying if we don't have instant results for our actions, okay? So do not stop trying to contact the customer. Stay on top of it. I hear from leasing teams a lot, well, I didn't hear from them, and I really didn't want to bug them, and, you know, I wanted to wait a few days. And here's my answer. Hey, people, it's not dating. We're not playing hard to get. We're selling. I remember when I was in the dating world, and if somebody didn't contact me by, you know, Wednesday or Thursday for a Saturday night date, I was playing all hard to get. That doesn't work in sales. It didn't really work in dating either, but hey, it doesn't work in sales. You want to be the persistent one. You want to stay on top of that customer, because what are you saying to them? I want you to lease this apartment. You mean something to us, and your business is valuable to us. And we definitely want to make that statement to our customers. Okay, I'm waiting for that next slide to come up. For some reason, it is frozen.
I can help.
Yeah, help me out there, Clark. Teamwork makes the dream work. Okay, so here's your action item. Be the FBI, okay? People who want activity do more research than anyone else. So be the FBI and uncover all of your leads. All right, let's move on to the next slide. On the next slide, what I wanted to point out here is that when you find out where your customer is in their buying making decision, it'll also help you discern who your hot lead is, who your cold lead is, who your warm lead is. But I want to also caution you on this point. Just because you think you know where that customer is because that's what they said, it may not always be the truth. People come in and they say, oh, I'm just looking around. They're not. They're just not buying yet because they haven't found what they're looking for. So come on, let's get real. Don't think you know what this customer is thinking. Ask them, and then ask them again. And then after they've seen the apartment, the available apartment, the model, the community, ask them where they are now. Are they ready to lease that apartment? Early in the marketing, I like to do that also. Where else are you looking? How many communities have you looked at? Never assume that I know where they are in that buying decision. Don't make assumptions for them. Too many of my leasing consultants will say, oh, I think this, or they told me that. Really dig in and find out. Now, on the next slide, I want to really point out what I mean here by thinking about what people are afraid of. And this is kind of the psychology behind that buying decision. This is why people don't respond right away, because they're afraid of making a bad decision. So all of our sales and marketing has to be focused on making a good decision. You've got all the information, your questions were answered, we overcame your objections, you've got the information that you need, and therefore you can make a good, qualified decision today. So they take the fear out of it, and they'll make that decision a lot quicker too. That's a fast fix right there, just by taking the fear out of it. Okay, Clark, let's keep moving on. On the next slide, it's coming up. Without a sense of urgency, desire loses its value. Okay, so what we want to do is be influencers, and influencers create a very high level of desire. Our marketing has to really scream that, you know, this is something you would desire to live in. When that high desire is there, that's when the value is the highest too. So even in markets that are slower and, you know, we're not responding with 3 months free as some properties are here in Houston right now, I'll be honest with you, you want to keep your value as high as possible. So creating urgency enables you to keep that value high. It's a really important fix for a slow market. A lot of people try to correct the market by dumping their prices, adding a concession. I don't believe that. I think it's important that we continue to build that value, and the first decision should not be to dump the prices. So if you react that way, I think that's an unsophisticated approach. I want you to think more about what can we do to fine-tune that marketing and keep that value really high. Okay, next slide. Oh my God, it's few I want to get to. Next, invite people to come back in. In a really fast market, you're going to have people that are leasing right away, okay, because they know that there's a lot of people out there renting and they don't want to lose that apartment. In a slower market, they think they have time. So make sure you have a system to get people to come back in. Okay, let's keep moving. So find out if when they can come back and take a look. Set up that next appointment. A lot of times we're also doing Skype tours or webcam tours, because this gives us the ability to give them that second look without them coming back out. And that might help them make a decision also. Now, this is very important, very, very important. In a slower market, we tend to have more availability. And what happens is we start to just dump all that availability on the customer, and you just killed your urgency. So make sure you limit choices. And the best way to limit choices is to really find out what that customer is looking for. And then if you think about it, you've only got 1 or 2 apartments that really meet their needs. Don't dump that whole availability sheet right in front of them and let them see all that. You just made it easy for them to take their time because they think there's plenty of apartments. At my apartment community, Vargas on the Lake, we have 27 floor plans. Sometimes we may only have 1 apartment that meets your needs because there's a special thing that you're looking for. So even if I've got 17 vacants, doesn't mean all of them are going to meet their needs. So it's really important to limit choices in a slow market. Okay, next thing that we want to cover in our sneak peek is to stop assuming you know when they're going to lease. Okay, that's your action item here. Stay on top of that person and don't give up. And don't try to be all, you know, super, oh, I just don't want to bother that person. It's our job to get that lease. So let's make those phone calls, send out those text messages, that email, stay on top of that customer. Next up, in a slow market, there's a lot of things that you want to think about to attract new customers, but the one thing you never want to forget is your existing customers. If you're ramping things up, for people to come in the door, that's really important, but you've already got people there that are happy, that can refer you traffic, and that, by the way, you don't want them to move out this year because it's going to be harder for you to rent that apartment, and you may even end up renting it and having longer vacancy loss, and so that's going to cost us money. So take really good care of those existing customers. Next up, oh, so I'm invisible to you? That's cool. I always wanted a superpower. When you ignore your existing customers, you've given them that superpower of invisibility. That wouldn't be my superpower. My superpower would be to always have background music anywhere I went. So I always feel like I'm walking through a movie. Okay, next one. Action item. Think of a small way that you can surprise and delight your existing customers. Now, Clark's going to bring up a picture of me when I was surprised and delighted by a brand that I give a lot of my business to, and that's the airlines. Here I am outside a Delta Airlines jet because one day they escorted me off the plane, not for doing anything bad or because it was oversold, but because they wanted to surprise and delight me by moving me to my next gate in this beautiful Porsche Panorama. Boy, that was a surprise. And when we surprise and delight our customers, those are the things that they talk about on social media. I pop this out on social media. I've done it a few times. And Delta always thanks me for when I do that, too, because it spreads the message that they really care about their existing customers. Let's go to the next slide. Ask for social posts and reviews. In a slow market, this is free marketing. Free marketing. So ask your customers to do that. Tell them, you know, we want to attract some great new neighbors for you. Would you mind going online and telling people what you love about living here? And they will do that. And then also giving them a reason with surprising and delighting. When you come to my program at NAA, I'm going to have a lot of examples of specific things that you can do. Really get your mind going and get your creative juices flowing so you come up with some great ideas too, especially if you can't afford a Porsche Panorama to run your customers around your neighborhood. Okay, let's go to the next slide. This is a way to stand out from your competition. This is an apartment community in Boca Raton. I'm going to have a whole bunch of pictures of ways that you can stand out from your competition, but this is one of my favorites. I wanted to show it to you today in the sneak peek. The reason why you want to do something special in a slow market is because customers have more choice now. They're going to be looking at a lot more apartments. Why should yours stand out to them? If you have something really cool like this game room or TV viewing room with all this really hip and cool graffiti around it, that's going to stand out to them. They're going to remember you in a sea of choices. So I think that's really smart. And then the next concept that we're going to explore in my session on Wednesday at NAA is Shoppertainment. And this is a really fun concept that I've been digging in and coming up with a lot of great ideas for you. The whole concept of Shoppertainment. It's not enough just to tour them around anymore. I don't want to be tour guides, but really entertain them on the way. Those gee whizzes are memorable items. And then stop what is not working and do more of what is working. This is the time that you want to audit and really cut the cord on the things that aren't working for you and put more money into things that are working for you because they're a sure thing. Too many people go off and look for another marketing source or another marketing idea. I say dig into the things that are working and just do more of it. And the last thing that I want to leave you with today is don't worry if you don't have time, okay? Just take one thing and do it and see the results from that and then do another thing next week. When I speak at NAA in June, I'm going to go through a kind of like a game, a contest, if you will, where the team can earn points for doing different things. And we put a value item on different points, like doing some outreach, or writing thank you notes to existing customers. And everything they do, they earn points, and then with each point bracket that they get to, they get a different prize. This is a great way to take all these ideas that you're going to learn at NAA and get your team on board to put them in action. And that's the way that you can see results in a really quick manner instead of saying, okay, I'm going to get to that, I'm going to get to that, I'm going to get to that. Get everybody on the team to really be focused on getting results immediately through total participation.
Kate, you're a breath of fresh air, and you delivered on some really fresh ideas, and I have a feeling that you have plenty more where that came from. So we're all really looking forward to joining you in June to sort of continue the conversation. That is some powerful stuff. Thank you so much. And before, we should remind people, I think, that your session is at 1:45 on Wednesday. That's a new time block for everybody. It's one of 6 concurrent sessions, and it's just one more way at NAA that we're trying to continue to build value at our conference. We get bigger every year. We have more exhibitors and more attendees, and we want to make sure that we have more education. So this is new, and we actually are so pleased to have you help us showcase that. Thank you so much. Also, Kate, I wanted to point out to our viewers, actually, we should have a nice long look at this. Kate is for follow-up questions. And you will have this at your fingertips after the fact. We recorded this webinar, and we're going to post it. You'll get a follow-up email with a link to the recording. So, but Kate's quite reachable and accessible and knowledgeable. This webinar today, Kate, is the 3rd in a series of 6. And we're getting, I think we're about 8 weeks out now from the conference. On Thursday, May 11th, we have a webinar specifically designed for independent rental owners. And so if that's of interest to our viewers or someone in your company, please make sure to register for that. We also are focusing on maintenance and how to develop good maintenance practices that support a really good operations plan. That's on Thursday, May the 25th. And then lastly, yours truly will be doing a webinar 1 week prior to the conference on June the 13th, which I think is a Tuesday. And I'm going to help you prepare for the conference by pointing out some highlights and sharing some of the, talking about how the conference is organized and how you can maximize your experience there. So if you haven't registered for the conference yet, there's a link to registration at the bottom of this slide. It's going to be a really great time, I think. I want to thank you, Kate, for everything that you shared today. You were amazing. We remember that you'll continue the conversation in June at 1:45 on Wednesday. I've told you that that the webinar is recorded, so you can expect something in your inbox within the next couple of days. And with that, I love this place. I love Kate Good. I love NAA. Atlanta. Thanks everybody for tuning in. Thank you so much, Kate. Bye, everybody.
Bye.